Welcome to our first weekly episode of Legislative Highlights from the Utah League of Cities and Towns. I'm Susan Wood. Joining me now is Lincoln Schertz, the League's Director of Legislative Affairs. And Lincoln, you know of some of the hotly contested issues right now. We've got the open carry bill, gun laws. What's going on with that?
Susan, thanks for having me on today. There's several things taking place at the legislature, and we appreciate doing this update on a weekly basis. One of the big issues for our membership this year is open carry law. There's a bill being sponsored, House Bill 49, by Paul Ray. He's representative in the House. What the bill does is essentially codify the statute of open carry in the state of Utah. It's been long held that we do have an open carry law in Utah, but it's never been put in statute. The statute's been silent on the issue. His attempt this year is to provide that in statute so everyone has a clear definition of what open carry is and what the regulations are for open carry. Our police chiefs and law enforcement, generally speaking, has major concerns with the legislation.
What are their concerns?
As law enforcement, anytime someone's walking down a municipal street carrying a gun or a rifle or a pistol, it does make people anxious, and we inevitably get police calls on those issues. Police want to make sure that they're able to respond to those calls, address any concerns that citizens may have with folks carrying firearms within their communities. With the recent death threat on the governor, I think this is more of an exacerbated issue, so we're watching it closely. We've taken a position to oppose this bill and hopefully work on some amendments to make sure we address the concerns of law enforcement and their ability to do their job.
Okay, billboards is always hotly contested. Right now there's a lot of debate on that issue. Where do we stand?
There is a billboard bill. It was in committee yesterday. It passed out of committee overwhelmingly. When you have leadership sponsoring a bill, that's traditionally how things take place. So it was an expected passage of that bill after past the first hurdle. What we do expect in the weeks to come, we've talked to the sponsor of the bill. He's more than open to our suggestions on changes to the billboard bill. The big issue and what's kind of turning the debate right now is the digitalization of signs, converting traditional paper signs into digital face signs, and what sort of regulatory scheme cities and towns should have on those conversions. Cities have said that we're willing to allow all signs on the freeway to be converted, but the big concern for our mayors and council members is being able to regulate signs in neighborhoods. Because
cities want local control.
Correct. We want to make sure that our residents, if they have concerns with a billboard conversion in their neighborhood, we can respond and regulate those appropriately to balance the property right interests of the homeowner as well as the billboard company.
Idling ordinances. Some cities want the right to say you can't let your car idle in a city street.
Correct.
Where do we stand on that?
Salt Lake City is the second community in the state that's passed an idling ordinance. Park City was the first. Didn't catch much controversy with the Park City ordinance. Salt Lake City's caught a far more attention than any other ordinance. Representative Wayne Harper from West Jordan has a bill that would essentially restrict the city's ability to have an idling ordinance. His concern is having police officers or city employees accessing private property to enforce those laws. I actually met with Wayne Harper today with representatives from Salt Lake City to address his concerns. We're going to go through and set up a processes that the Salt Lake City employees will follow when enforcing that ordinance. He wants to see what those rules and procedures will look like. Hopefully with that information he'll be happy to drop the bill and we can move on and continue to maintain that local control that we always advocate for.
Now, for generations, water issues have been a matter of debate. And we're talking about a situation now where we're putting a lot of power, or discussing putting a lot of power, into one person's hands when it comes to regulating water. What's going on?
There were two recent Supreme Court cases that came down this year dealing with water rights and how the state engineer, who's responsible in the state for adjudicating water rights decisions, interfaces with folks who are petitioning to either convert water or divert water in the state of Utah. His office kind of has sole discretion on whether or not they grant applications for conversion or deny them. As cities and towns, we're converting more water than any other user in the state of Utah. The reason is we take the water from an agricultural purpose and convert it into a municipal use. So with that, we're probably most affected by his office and the authority that's granted to him. We have significant concerns in granting that office unfettered authority without much check and balance on that authority. There are competing bills at the legislature this year, neither of which have language, but in concept would essentially grant him more authority on one circumstance. That would be a Senate bill. The House bill is anticipating providing more checks and balances to his office. Still waiting to see how the politics fall out on that one. It's very early in the process. Like I said, neither bill's been drafted in any formal language has been offered. So
now lawmakers are discussing whether or not to require cities to do impact studies. Tell me about where cities stand on that and what lawmakers are asking cities to be responsible for.
Certainly. Representative Johnny Anderson from Taylorsville introduced a bill, House Bill 94, that would require cities to do an impact study anytime we provide a new service that could conceivably compete against the private sector. The concerns for local government is not that we should study these issues diligently, but the concern is the cost of the studies and what sort of coverage those impact studies will have. In essence, we couldn't find a single municipal service that this bill would not affect, literally ranging from having to do an impact study on police and fire and every service we provide. And most people aren't doing impact studies, but when you do one, they cost between $40,000 and $120,000 depending on the magnitude of the study. That's a very expensive price tag to offer services that our constituents are asking. In addition, on the bill had fairly significant recourse provisions if you did not do it correctly, allowing people to have a private cause of action against the municipality if they did not go through the process of doing the impact study correctly. That bill came to committee yesterday. We, along with higher education, special districts, the counties, all expressed immense concern about the implications of this bill. With our concerns expressed, the committee did decide to hold the bill and not allow it to go through the process any longer. And Representative Anderson has decided to refer to interim study. So it looks like it's going to be an issue we'll be discussing through the interim of 2012.
Okay, quick forecast. What do you foresee in the upcoming week?
Budget numbers are coming in. I think the budget's going to start taking a fairly significant hold on most of the discussions up on Capitol Hill. We still have a lot of things left to do. We're tracking about 130 bills now. We just had all what we call boxcar bills come out this week on Monday. And what that is all bills that are going to be introduced had to be filed and actually made public as of Monday. So we added about another 50 bills to our committee watch list. So we're up to 130. We would encourage folks to go on our website and see the bills we're tracking as well as our status on those bills as well.
There's a lot going on very quickly. And if you have something, if you have strong feelings on a matter, if you have something you'd like to add, then
yes.
What do you do? Call your legislator?
Absolutely. Call your legislator. Go to their website. It's one of the most citizen-friendly websites in the country, www.le.utah.gov. A great citizen-friendly website that they can access. We have links on our page, ULCT.org, where they can link to the state website as well. So hopefully they can find their way there. We
will, of course, be chatting again next week about all your legislative headlines. You can find that right here on our website, www.ulct.org. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week.